Will your business be able to financially sustain itself? It is 10:30 p.m. and believe it or not, this subway is pumping. Why? Because it's Shinjuku in Tokyo, Japan, the busiest subway station in the entire world. 2 million people travel through here every day. That's right, 2 million. Holy smokes, right? This is what it looks like at 10:30 p.m. It's nuts. Okay, today we are going to talk about deciding whether your business model is actually viable. Will your business be able to financially sustain itself? We will discuss dollarization principles, which I'll explain what that means in a bit, as well as break-even points. But before we do that, I'm going to discuss, and by the way, I will explain what break-even points and dollarization principles are for those who don't know. I'm going to start off by first telling you a story. All right, some guy was pitching me his business idea, which he was pitching it with fervor, like it was the greatest idea in the world. Obviously, everyone does that about their own ideas. However, this particular guy, I asked him, how are you going to make money with this thing? He was going to create a web application and drive traffic to it, but he didn't really know. So he said, well, when the traffic starts hitting, then I can start making affiliate links and selling products on Amazon. Well, wait a minute. Selling affiliate links for products on Amazon, you're not selling your own products, you're selling other people's products for commission. How much commission do you make? He said something like, I don't remember if it was 15% or 1.5%. Whatever it was, it worked out to each sale coming down to pennies. I mean, it was like a joke. I said, well, wait a minute. If every sale is only worth, I don't know, I'm going to round up to $1, but I don't even think it was that much. If every sale is only worth $1, in order to just cover the costs of hosting your website and all the servers you're planning for this abstract idea, how many products do you have to actually sell with these affiliate links? And he started saying, I don't know, I never did the math. I said, how can you start a business and not do the math? That's crazy. Japan's crazy. Okay, so he started saying, so anyway, long story short, it worked out. He needed something like 200 sales a month just to be able to break even. And that doesn't account for paying anyone's salary. That was just to cover his costs. 200 sales. And the part of the problem was his entire model was of these affiliate links. Well, when people click the link, they leave your website. So they're not your customer, they're not on your product anymore, they're not your customer anymore. You just gave your customer to someone else for the cost of that affiliate link, profit. So it was a really bad profit model. Then I started saying, well, what else can you do to actually try to bring in money? And all of his ideas were like, I could do this, I could do that, very, very run-of-the-mill things that he saw on the internet. Never did the math on any of them. I'm like, dude, you're gonna fail if you don't start learning how to do math. Basic arithmetic. You gotta learn how to calculate your break-even point, so you know how many sales and customers and profit you actually can make. I mean, that didn't come out coherent. How much sales and customers you need so you can make a certain amount of profit. You need to calculate your break-even point. Break-even point means how much money you need to take in order to reach zero, so you're not in a negative. Okay, when you first launch any business, you're always in a negative. At the very least, you're gonna host your website for the thing, and that's gonna cost a few dollars. All right, I mean, you can do that for free, I guess, too, today, but you're gonna buy a domain for 10 bucks on whatever, GoDaddy. Either way, every business starts in a negative. That's normal. Where's your break-even point? How do you sustain yourself financially so every month you're gaining, not losing? Where is that break-even point? How many customers do you need with the profit model that you have? How many sales do you need in order to achieve that? So, in his particular situation where he was doing affiliate links, which is a terrible model in most scenarios, okay? He needed like 200 customers just to break even, which means it will never be something where he can earn a salary off of. That's not even in the ballpark. So it was a bad business model. It's important to do this to recognize if you don't have a business model, to either create a business model or otherwise throw the whole business out the window and start something different, because it's a bad idea. You need to be able to know how many customers you how many customers you need to have in order to actually start earning money instead of just covering losses, or if even so. Okay, let's talk about dollarization principle, because that's break-even point. Dollarization principle means that every last thing that you do in a business has a value. That's right, everything. If you pay your janitor, that janitor has a value to your business. If you walk into a retail location and the place is a dump and it's filthy, customers leave. The value of keeping those customers is the value of that janitor. That value is what you pay, is the maximum that it's worth paying that janitor. If that janitor's salary is higher than how much customers he would actually retain for you, then don't, and leave the place a dump. That's not good advice, by the way. I'm just stating that as a random example to explain the idea of dollarization principle. Every last thing you do has a value, financial value in a business. And when it all comes down to it, all your expenses need to dollarize. You need to know how much their value actually is. Is it worth paying for this thing? If you buy a brand new color printer and every time someone in the office prints from the thing, it's a $1 print, which I've seen printers that do that where the ink costs $1, meaning the sheets, the amount of sheets that the ink cartridge lasts is maybe like 30 and the cartridge costs $30 and each print is $1. Ask yourself, do you need that color printer? Maybe that's not a good idea. It's not earning you more than you're making, unless you're a print shop, and then that printer will earn you more money because some guy's gonna buy that print for 50 bucks if you frame it and add a few dollars, like a $5 frame around it. I don't know your business, but I do know that you gotta dollarize every last thing and every expense. You should know how it impacts your bottom line. Very core principle, dollarization. Everything can be dollarized. And you have to know what all your expenses are in advance of launching any new business. Do not launch a business and start getting hit with surprises. Oh my God, this costs what? No, you're supposed to do that on paper before you launch the business. You gotta know your dollarization values before you launch your business. It's critical. All right? Next, why do people actually buy things from you? You have to understand the psychology of that. It's core to actually making money. People only buy things for one of two reasons. One, they solve their problem, or two, it gives them happiness. If your product doesn't do either of those things, it's not solving some problem for somebody and it's not providing them happiness, they ain't gonna buy it. I don't care how much you want them to want it, they won't want it. No one's gonna use a product that doesn't solve a problem or provide happiness. Random examples just around me. That lady's suitcase, that solves her problem. She can carry her stuff with her. All this junk over there for sale in the kiosk right here. Wait, hold on, you gotta see this stuff. All right, $10 box of bananas. I kid you not, they're probably chocolate bananas. $10 for chocolate bananas. Ain't no one need chocolate bananas. You're not solving any problem. You're providing happiness because they're goofy looking and they look fun. Here, let's see what else we got here. Some sort of dried fish product for $1.57 US, 157 yen. I don't know what that solves. I guess that solves your hunger. I don't know. It looks nasty to me. I don't know what that was. Okay, everyone's walking around here with a cell phone in their hand. The problems it solves, endless problems. Cell phones solve endless problems. Everything from communication and finding your way home. GPS. All right, so what else can we have here? Let's look around. All right, everything solves a problem or provides happiness. Simple as that. This train that they're getting on solves their problem. It gets people home. This guy is selling face masks because it's Japan and people wear those things here. It doesn't make them happy, I'm sure, to wear those silly looking masks, but it solves their problem that they don't want to get germs from other people. Everything does one of those two things. If you don't know how what you're creating solves someone's problems or gives them happiness, then you ain't gonna sell it. It ain't gonna sell. You're gonna find no customers. Zero. All right. Every last thing you have in your business, you have to dollarize it, and you have to know how it either helps people solve their problems or makes them happy. And you have to know if you're going to end up profiting or you're going to end up losing money. All right. I love it when people do that. Photobomb. All right. You have to always know how much money you need to earn in order to actually earn, as opposed to not make a loss. Okay, that comes down to understanding how much profit you have built into your product or service and what your costs are. All right, don't just figure out your net cost, your gross costs too. I've heard so many people, they say, oh, I'm gonna make t-shirts. I'm just taking a random example. I'm gonna make t-shirts. The t-shirt costs $2 wholesale. The print, I can do an iron-on print, so that'll cost me only $1 for the paper, and that's it. No, it doesn't cost you $3. Number one, you have to spend your time ironing. Number two, you forgot the ink cost. These things are fortune, the color ink. Okay, so your actual per shirt cost in ink is could be 50 cents or $1. And every 10 shirts you do, you're probably gonna ruin one if you're doing it by hand. Come on, let's be real. How perfect could you really iron the dang thing on? So you have to add in contingency and loss. Okay, actual loss by accident. So for every 10 shirts, you really have to account for paying for 11. All these things, figure out what it's worth. Then when you're all said and done, you haven't actually figured out your break-even point. You figured out your gross cost. Your net cost includes your overhead of operations, which includes running your website and things that you have to do no matter what to have any form of business in the 21st century. Okay, where are you going to store all those shirts? Are they going to be in your apartment? If they're in your apartment, as opposed to paying for storage, because that's another expense, then you have to also account, you're paying rent to live like that. If you want to live in a warehouse that's your business, or recognize that whatever you're paying in rent there, you can deduct that square footage for how many, if you're gonna start loading the house up with boxes, because you're just basically making yourself live in a warehouse, which is misery. So you're entitled to do that if you choose to, but be aware that you're paying rent to be there, and you're gonna you fill your apartment with boxes. So different approaches. Listen, some people live in houses and they can throw it in the garage, no one even looks at the thing. I know someone who actually did that business, and they were living with boxes in their apartment for like 4 years because they couldn't sell them, because the products did not provide happiness in the way they thought it would. They thought everyone would love them. They couldn't find the distribution channel to the people who would love them, because I thought they were actually very nice. But for whatever other reasons, they couldn't find the distribution channels, and the people who saw them didn't find the value in $25 a t-shirt because they didn't calculate their expenses correctly. They didn't realize it would cost that much to produce the things, and ended up racking up a price of $25 for a t-shirt because when they realized, oh my God, how much does it cost, and no one buys the thing. And they ended up literally, I think, giving them away. It was terrible. Terrible in terms of financial loss. It wasn't terrible because there's only a few hundred shirts, but it was, I don't know, a couple grand financial loss, which is not fun, but it ain't the end of the world. But it was terrible because it's sad to see a good product fail, which is what this was. It was a beautiful shirt, and it failed. So this is what it is. Anyway, that's all I got for today. Thank you for sticking with me. I know I've been loud and it's noisy in here because it's Shinjuku, Tokyo, Japan, world's most busiest subway station. By now it's almost 11 o'clock at night, and you can see it is not slowing down here at all. It's just, holy cow, it's 11 o'clock at night. Look what goes on. All right, guys, see you in the next vlog. Subscribe, like, do all the good things. Whether or not you like this video, please share it anyway. All right, see you in the next video.